Ready to shine inside out? Welcome to Polished Beauty Podcast, where ambition meets empowerment. We talk business, beauty, brain, body. I am your host, Dr. Daisy Ayim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon and OBGYN. Let's get polished. Welcome, you guys. Welcome. This episode, it's so real. I cannot believe that it's been 1 year since I started recording this podcast. Can you imagine that? I know I can't. It has been 1 year of learning, growing, pivoting, making mistakes, learning from the mistakes, having some great wins, not so great wins. And I am just so happy to be here at this moment. This episode is not going to be your typical recap where I talk about the entire year. No, it's going to have some really great message that I want you to learn. And the message is consistency. Consistency is basically the discipline of you showing up every day for something that you care about. Discipline is basically showing up despite no one clapping for you. You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to be your own audience. You have to be everything because you are disciplined. And the consistency is what the message is about. Because I was consistent for 1 year, delivering weekly episodes. Here I am today at the anniversary. I feel proud. I really do. And you know what? 54 episodes later, it's not easy. I remember when I started this podcast, I was reading a lot about podcasting and how to get things going. And the common message I got was most podcasts, they basically die off in about episode 7. They don't go that far. And I thought to myself, I was like, that cannot be real. Like, that seriously cannot be real. So I was like, okay. I know I'm going to last more than 7 episodes because I have a great content, great idea. I just need to figure out the execution to get it to go beyond the 7 episodes. So to say that I have recorded 54 episodes today being the 54th, is beyond something that I am so proud of, and I hope it inspires you. All right, let me just take a sip of this water. Okay. As I mentioned, the idea of this podcast was to create a space for women that they could feel seen, informed, educated. It was really my private practice brought online. Okay. That was the intent of this podcast. Everything I do in my office to bring it online and focusing on women on many dynamics, their business, their beauty, their body, their brain, because women are a whole entity. So that was what I brought into this podcast and created this space. It was not easy, but here we are. So let's talk about the beginning, the bold move. When I started the podcast, I partnered with iHeart Radio's host. This collaboration taught me a lot because I wanted to bring the podcast to a large audience. I wanted the podcast to have a voice immediately. I wanted the podcast to resonate. I came in hard, strong, bold. Okay? That was the intent of that collaboration and partnership. What I learned from that is that my podcast, Polished Beauty Podcast, didn't need that type of platform for it to resonate. It just needed to be real. It just needed to be simply what I'm doing in my office, one-on-one with that woman. We're talking about all those things. That's all it needed. I was very appreciative and grateful to that collaboration. But when it ended, obviously, I'm like, what now? This is kind of scary, the anticipation of going on my own. But I said, no. I'm going to go back to exactly what I intended this to be, which is that one-on-one, me, my mic, my message, connecting with my patients and bringing guests that support that pathway. So that's where we are with the podcast. So the beginning was bold and brave and banging, right? Was it perfect? Absolutely not. It was not. The audio wasn't the greatest. The visual was, it could have been better. I have seen other podcasts, audio and visual, that's just spectacular. But I always reminded myself, my message is what matters. So At this moment, right now, the foundation of Polished Beauty Podcast is exactly where I am 1 year later. Me and you, bringing in quality guests to discuss those topics. So let's talk about the guests and the growth of the podcast in the past year. I have had the honor to speak with some high-profile, talented, highly specialized guests that are doing amazing things in their area in the corner. Okay. I have had physicians that were excelling and crushing it in their private practice or in their career, and also having this amazing online platform. I have had entrepreneurs that were also physicians and also just entrepreneurs in other areas, whether it was fitness, business. They were great. They taught me a lot. And that conversation was a constant mirror of where I am as an entrepreneur, owning my own practice and doing this for 17 years. Okay. I had activists that show the compassion of putting others first, and really caring for other people and showing how that can impact, that pay it forward type of mindset. I also had fitness experts. And if you guys notice, the fitness experts that I brought to the podcast, they focused on later years, what to do in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s. Why did I do that? Well, I think it's very easy to oftentimes talk about fitness in your teens, in your 20s. By default, you have age and genetics on your side. That's not to say there are not exceptions. There are. But being young is such a beautiful thing, okay? You can put very minimal effort and get tremendous results. That's the beauty of being young. However, I choose to focus on the latter years because then you're dealing with some real life setbacks, aging, cellular changes, hormonal changes. So your fitness journey is no longer showing up at a gym, maybe eating a large pizza and still look amazing the next day. No, your fitness journey is a lot of mental shift, appreciation for where you are in your life, understanding the scars and the triumphs you've had led up to this moment. And so how do you live at this moment going forward? So those fitness experts and innovators that I brought, the guests were just phenomenal. All right. I explored topics on facial aesthetics, regenerative medicine, which is huge right now, and menopause care. Lots of episodes on that, perimenopause as well, partially because I am in that category. Yes, I've revealed my age. And, so there was a lot of that. And then mindset. If you notice, every episode had some sort of mindset shift, some mindset elevation. And that's because I really believed in that everything you do, the basis of it is your thought process, which brings up to the conversation of polished beauty. Polished beauty is not perfection. Polished is not extreme shine and there's glitz and glamours. No, that's not what polish is. Polished is an exceptional thought, mindset to live exceptionally well. Okay. So it starts with your mind wanting to live an exceptionally full life. And so therefore you show up as your best self in that moment, in whatever you're choosing to do. That moment could be at work. It could be at home. It could be at vacation. Wherever it is, you have this polished mindset to be exceptional. Exceptional doesn't mean perfect. It just means you're doing your best. And that's what the whole polish concept comes about, okay? Some guests reminded me to slow down. I saw the beauty of just taking in day by day and not doing way too much. And way too much is my middle name, from managing this podcast, managing my private practice, managing being a mother, managing my personal life, showing up for my family and friends, running my other businesses. Way too much is the middle name of me. Okay. So listening to some of my guests, it really allowed me to slow down and say, wow, you've done a lot over and over and over again in this short time frame. Some of the guests ignite curiosity, just having these conversations about longevity or how I did it right or how I did this. One of the guests I had that I thought was just so phenomenal was, she climbed the second summit, 7 of them, to kind of celebrate her 7 children. How phenomenal is that? It's a very small thing as far as thought, but it's giant because that is a big deal. So, I had some guests that really got me thinking in so many ways, and I hope it affected you in that way, in those ways as well. Behind the scenes, I grew. I grew as a podcaster. I grew about everything I did, how to prepare for the episode, how to communicate during the episode, what style of questions to ask, how to go about it. So there was a lot of growth. And if you've listened to all my episodes now, God bless you. Thank you so much. But you can also see how much the podcast has evolved. Some of it were just kind of like, okay, what is she doing here? Or maybe it's not great. Maybe it's fantastic. And there were others that were just so smooth. You have seen it all. There's nothing to hide here. But I continue. So the next part of this is to talk about the challenges and the lessons that I've learned in this past year as a podcaster. First, let's be real. It has not been glamorous to record 54 episodes, delivering every week. There have been some hiccups, major setbacks. But my main thing was to always have an episode ready. It was not perfect, sometimes a little messy, but I was going to have something to publish on Wednesday because that was a commitment that I gave myself when I started this podcast. I said, Daisy, do or die, you will have an episode every single Wednesday. And I delivered. Okay. At one point, I decided to go professional because after talking to others and getting feedbacks, the common thing was you need to get a professional. You need to get a professional team, Yes, I had the collaboration with iHeart. So in some ways, I had the professional setup. When that relationship was ending, I decided to bring in a professional team because I thought, okay, that'll be a nice continuation on that level. Well, that didn't go as planned. Okay. You guys have seen some of the videos and some of the audio. Quality wasn't as what I expected, visually not as I expected. And I was like, wait a minute. I have paid all this money for the professional great quality that I felt was needed, but the results and the outcome wasn't. I found myself in the background still doing a lot of editing, still doing a lot of conversation back and forth, and not having the product at the deadline for me to publish on Wednesday or for them to publish. Because initially the idea was they would take over, do the publishing and editing, and I can just sit and relax because I have mastered the trade in the background on how to run a podcast. That didn't go as planned, not even a bit. So that relationship ended. Those were the challenges. I say all that to say that whenever you have a mission, a vision, a desire, a dream, understand that the road is not straight. It is zigzag. Sometimes it's tumbling backwards to stand up and walk zigzag again. Okay? Sometimes it's a little straight and you're like, woo, caught a break right there. Sometimes it isn't. The important thing is that no one will care about your vision like you do. I'm going to repeat that. No one would care about your vision like you would. So remember that you have to show up. You have to be consistent. You have to be disciplined because it is your vision. That is the message there. You don't need to be perfect. Perfection is not necessary. You need to be consistent, showing up, discipline. Okay? Discipline is doing it even when no one is clapping for you. When I recorded my podcast and I looked at the analytics and the downloads, it was not very impressive when I started. And some of the episodes that I did without the collab in iHeart weren't that great. But you know what I told myself? Daisy, there's one person out there that has listened to this. You have won because all it took was one person to appreciate the effort you put in. And I celebrate that. Along the way, I have had, brands that have reached out to partner with me. I have not accepted any offer. I have been asked to insert ads into my podcast. I have not accepted that. I have been reached to do collabs, and I've kind of paused on that. That's not to say that those things are not great, because they are, and I see other people doing it, and that's great. But for me, I truly wanted this 1 year to be 100% authentic, just my voice and the mic. No other external stuff, not trying to sell anyone anything, not trying to monetize anything, just trying to educate, informed, and have the space where I discuss the 4 Bs, as I've mentioned over in this podcast. That's all I really wanted. So I wasn't trying to create a podcast to make a money or to make a business out of it. The goal for me was just to have a very solid information, solid education platform that is reflective of my practice online. And I'm happy to say that the wins I have won, because 1 year later, I have 54 episodes. And to me, I'm going to clap for myself right now. I feel like I have made it. Let's talk about wins and wisdom. Wins and wisdom. Everybody define winning and wisdom differently, right? For me, it was building an audience that tunes in every Wednesday. They expect a product every Wednesday that allow you to learn, to laugh, to cheer up, to level up, to basically pivot and inspire you. Some of you have DM'd me. Some of you have called the office. Some of you have given me feedback, and I've seen some reviews online, and I really appreciate that. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for listening to the podcast, even if it was for 5 minutes. I thank you. If you've listened to all 53, this is the 54th episode. Thank you. I just want to say that is a win to me. And it doesn't matter that it's 5 downloads or 5 million downloads. Thank you. All right. Wisdom. Well, for anyone watching or listening to this episode, if you've ever wanted to start something, if you've ever wanted to do a podcast, a business, an idea, something that you just wanted to start, my message to you is start. Even if you don't have all the tools in place, just start. What is going to happen is that you will find your rhythm, you will learn, you will unlearn, you will twist, you will turn, but you just need to start. That's my message here. The wisdom I have gone in 1 year is just start. Hold yourself accountable. Be very honest about your goals, your objective, and then hold yourself accountable. Don't wait to feel like someone has to cheer you up. Someone has to push you. Someone has to celebrate you. You have to be seen in a big spotlight. None of that. Just start. Just do the work. Just build, It's like planting, I remember when I was younger, we had lots of farms in Cameroon, and I used to go to the farm with my grandmother and my aunt. And we will go and plant at a certain time because of the raining season. The crops will grow, and then we will go and harvest the crops. A lot of times when you plant your seeds, you don't see anything happening. But you trust the process because you know eventually the result is going to be food for you to eat. And that's my message to you, is that when you are planting the seeds, when you are starting something, you don't see the results. But you have to believe that the result is going to come. So my wisdom, just start. Okay? You don't need all the answers. You just need to go. It may be messy. It may be scary. It may be awkward. It may be funny. Some people may appreciate it. Some people may laugh at you. You may not have the audience, but just go. Okay? Just get up, go, do your best, be proud of yourself, understand that you are going somewhere with your mission. All right. So what's next with Polished Beauty Podcast? Year 2 is going to be bigger, deeper, more dynamic, and more thoughtful. As I mentioned, Polished Beauty Podcast was a reflection of my practice for 17 years. So the topic and the content was very easy to do. As I go forward, what I have learned in this year doing the Polished Beauty Podcast is that the way I also practice medicine has changed. It has changed, one, because of my age, 2, what is going on in our current environment, 3, what I am hearing from my patients, 4, and just the dynamic of healthcare. So with those changes come a pivot. And the podcast is going to have a pivot. Still in the same theme of business, beauty, body, brain. I look forward to bringing insightful, quality guests and conversations. I look forward to having this moment conversations with you. I look forward to having innovative ideas. And more importantly, I look forward to your feedbacks and comments. One thing that I really want to say is that in my private practice, I send out a newsletter to my patients, and whoever is subscribed to the podcast is shy of about 6,000. Okay. The opening rate of that email is quite impressive. So you guys are listening. You guys are paying attention. I hope that you are getting something out of this process. And I look forward to hearing from you. If you can give some nuggets, ideas, feedbacks, suggestions, I welcome it all, because being polished is a collective effort of the things that happens to you, and that shapes you. So with me and the definition of polish, I want to hear from you. So very important. There's a quote I want to share with you, and it's not so much quoting anyone, it's actually quoting me, but I wrote this down because I did not want to mess it up. So here we go. Progress is built in the quiet moments of consistency. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to show up polished and with a purpose. You have a purpose. Tap into it. If you don't know your purpose, it's okay. Keep searching, keep learning, keep looking, and you will find that purpose. When you do, execute it to the best of your ability. And remember to thank God for your talents. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thank you for listening. Video recording of this episode will be featured on our YouTube channel, Dr. Daisy Ayim. We are also found on Instagram at Polished Beauty Podcast or at Dr. Daisy Ayim. Remember, new episodes drop every Wednesday, so stay tuned
Please like, share, follow.